So how you like walking through the Giza Plateau? You feel the power? I always felt that walking through the Giza Plateau was much better. And after all, you know, they were not built for us to go into in the first place. It'd be like you building your tomb, your grave site, and then now you got a lot of tourists going to come in to visit. But they're so grand and spectacular, everybody wants to go inside of the pyramid or the great mirror that you see at Khufu. Now, you can now get a better view of Khafra and the limestone that used to be on the top. Now, according to Herodotus, who came here, and some of us are still coming. So some of us didn't get our walking in, did we? You didn't go for that little walk, that little mile walk every day we asked you to do. Now, according to Herodotus, when he came here, and he said that the white limestone that covered the pyramid that we talked about, that there was writing on the outside of the pyramid. A minute ago I talked about the writing on the inside that you're going to see in Teddy's of salvation, resurrection, the prototype of these things that we have in religious belief systems today. But according to him, there was writing on that limestone that would cover a 10,000-page book that is no longer there. That was also validated also by 1100 AD by a man named Latif, Abdul Latif, who equally said that there was writing on the outside of the pyramid. So at that time, they may have wrote on the outside in the Middle Nature, that told about a story of a spiritual salvation, but it's the architecture that we see here. They were just not building for nothing. When we look at these three pyramids of Khufu, Khafra, and Menkaure, if we were to take an aerial view, we would see that Khufu and Khafra are in perfect alignment. But Menkaure, the smallest of the three, is on the other side of Khafra that you cannot see right now, but you'll see when you get on top of the Giza Plateau, is out of alignment. Originally, the Europeans said that the Kemetians were not grandmaster builders because one of the pyramids, like Menkaure, is out of alignment. But they didn't understand that this whole foundation that we see here was called the Rasta. Not Rastafarian, but the Rasta was for a spiritual ascension, okay, into the spiritual realm of the cosmos. They were literally building heaven on earth, meaning that these three pyramids of Khufu, Khafra, and Menkaure corresponded to 3 stars in Orion's belt, and the Kemetian name called Al-Natek, Al-Nalam, and Mentekha. Those 3 stars are in a perfect alignment, just like you see Khufu and Khafra, and also one that's slightly out of alignment is Menkaure. So they understood that the constellation of Orion has 7 stars and 3 stars in Orion's belt of Khufu, of Al-Nalam, Al-Natek, and Mentekha. So why would they use the constellation of Orion? Because the king was ascending to a constellation of Asar for his salvation and resurrection. This whole layout is built off of the cosmos. So it is here that our ancestors said in the Tahuti text that we were building heaven on earth. So the idea that we got in our religions today that we're going to heaven, or all those stars up there, where you're going. So at least they had an idea of what constellation they wanted to go to, and the spiritual foundation was based off of the architectural structure that you see here. So when you were asking me earlier, brother, that why did they not write on the inside of these pyramids? It's in the architecture of salvation that they built. And Teddy, they're starting to write it in stone of salvation and resurrection that you're going to see tomorrow. But here we see this is the beginning of the ideas and things that we believe in. Without this, what we have in the religion would not exist. That's why Kemet had to be demonized and vilified to wipe out the history of what African people did here in terms of building, and this laid the foundation of that became religions and even civilization. And we can even go further than that, that even humanity itself, there would not be people on the planet if it was not for that fallopian tube, the Happy Valley, that river called the Nile today, flowing from the Great Lakes region that we gave honor to, 4,200 miles. It's been validated through anthropology now, through the leakies who let it all leak out, that African people were the first people on the planet Earth. So they've come to accept that, because at one time they didn't want to accept that. Okay, they didn't want to believe. They said it was the Java man in Asia. They said it was a European man. Okay, but they never accepted the fact that Africa was the first people until they got into the science that they developed of anthropology. And the Adobe Gorge and the Hawar Valley in Ethiopia with a sister named Jekadesh. Okay, so here that mitochondrial DNA is coming from the mother. That's why Kemet was a matrilineal system. The line always went through the mother. Even we carry that tradition today because we know more of our mother's side of the family than our father's side of the family. Is that right? Correct. So there's still a tradition that we still carry to this very day. But that early migration, when Africans migrated down the Nile, out of Africa, into Europe, there were no Europeans there then. There was nobody called Europeans. These early Gamallis migrated to Europe, and the Ice Age came. And that's what created the Cro-Magnon man. The Cro-Magnon man, anthropologically speaking, would be the European man. That means that these early Gamalli Africans, they were either going to die or survive. To survive, they went into caves. Okay? When that Ice Age came, they lost their melanin, and here, this is what we see as what became the Cro-Magnon man. These early Africans migrated to Asia. The whole planet was an African planet, brothers and sisters. What we see are the various phenotypes, the various melanin and shades of black that we got, is all based off of Matnechet. Matnechet is Mother Nature. The Asians look the way they look because those of you who live in the northeastern part of the United States, when it snows and the sun hit that snow and you're outside and you don't have no sunglasses, what are your eyes going to do? Squint. So imagine squinting for 10,000 years, right? That's what's going to make you look the way you look. The Europeans, even though they say that the phenotype of the European so-called king features is a European feature, that is not a European feature. Go to Ethiopia, peace be upon him, as Brother Khalid Muhammad used to say, where brothers and sisters are blacker than 150 million midnight. Got king features. Because they live in the highlands of Ethiopia where it's cold. So the air has got to warm it. So again, you see, to warm the nostrils, it's more thin. But if you're out on the plains, okay, like the Watusi and others, and it's hot, and you got to bring that hot air, so your features are going to be different. This is what makes us who we are. And so when somebody say somebody got European, see, white supremacy works like this. Oh, they got European in them. No, wait a minute. How you gonna have European in you when Europeans weren't first? Everybody got African in them. You can't take the beginning, the seed. You can't take a watermelon seed that you see is black. You know those black watermelon seeds? And you see the little white ones? And then did the white ones make the black ones? Or did the black ones make the white ones? Okay. So African people are the first people that gave birth to humanity from this fallopian tube of the Nile Valley. They've accepted that through anthropology now because of the study, but they still won't accept the idea of religion, idea, civilization. So that is what we believe in, what we've been taught. Kemet was already experiencing the whole idea of the concept of God, the concept of heaven, the concept of the afterlife. The reason why we got these things in religion is because it started here with the African mind first and their genetic memory bank. No Christianity existed, no Judaism existed, no Islam existed, no Buddhism existed, no Krishna existed. They all developed from what was laid down here in the original Tameter land. And that's why Kemet has been so feared by so many, especially through religion. So that's why there were so many priests were persecuted, because they wanted to shut Kemet down, that we're going to get into, for the fear of the knowledge that is here. So it's our objective, is laying down the foundation, a seed, that for future generations, we come back here and acknowledge this is the beginning, as it is the beginning of our ancestors in the original Tanetter land. Because all the evidence is here. Put it in the middle court of law, all right? And if somebody can try to invalidate it, show me the evidence. Here we got the evidence. That means somebody knows something about your ancestral genetic memory bank that they don't want you to know about, okay? Somebody knows about your ancestral genetic memory bank that they don't want you to know about. You see, as long as we acting stupid in America, that's okay. As long as we got purple hair and blue hair, as soon as you got an inkling of some kind of consciousness, something's going on there, you know. And you say you go back to your job and you say, where'd you go for your vacation? I went to Africa. But you say you went to Europe, you say you went to France. Did you have a nice trip? You went to Greece, have a nice trip. Even family members. You went to France. Oh, did you got something back from France? Even Paris gets its name from a temple that you're going to go through in another week called Per Asset. Isis Temple. The Notre Dame's architectural structure of that church is designed from that temple. That's why Kemet has been the best kept secret. And this is what we're unlocking here. But even though when you go back to your job, don't tell them you're going to Africa, because I don't want you to get fired or demoted. Too late. When I was in the system, every year I told them I said, I went to the Vatican, I got to see the Vatican. I got to see the Holy Mary. All right. But where's the prototype of that Holy Mary? And who is this Black Madonna? What's her name? I said. And who's the Holy Child? This is it. This is the beginning of that. So be a spook, brothers and sisters. How many of you saw the spook sitting by the door? Read the book and saw the movie. So when I saw that, when I was in the system, I was a spook. All right? I had my operation. I was coming here, but I didn't tell them I was coming here. I was always finding another European country I went to. France, you know. And they say, you never show the pictures. I lost them. My camera got messed up. But I always lied. I lied. Learn how to lie to white folks. They lie to you all the time. You notice how they always want to know your business? Always want to get up in your business. And all kind of stuff. That's why you're laughing, because you know I'm telling you. All right. So now y'all are spooks. All right. That means you're in an operation. You're a secret brother and sister undercover. You are okay. You got drapetomania. You're a runaway. It's mental now. It's mental. All the things that we have gone through, you shouldn't even be here. They've taken us through even our family members. But just like on the plantation, when Harriet Tubman was trying to get her own husband to run. I'm not going out. You're already free, huh? Freedom, I don't know nothing about that. So that's the same thing. When we talk about traveling somewhere, we are the people who are most feared to go places. You know, especially to Africa. Because of what has happened to us, what is going through that Ma'afa here, because of what that plantation did to us, knowing that what would happen if we left off of that. So we still carry that to this very day. And even towards Africa, we think that we're going to do all the Tarzan pictures we were indoctrinated with. You know, some of us get mental pictures of being cooked in pots. You know, so this Tarzan syndrome, this thing has messed us up. So here, this is about freedom, brothers and sisters. This is about the salvation of our minds now. So we are honored that you come back, and we're honored that you have been receptive to the information. We got a lot to see and a lot to do. This is just our first day. This is going to be a great and wonderful journey, and we just want you to be free. Okay? Don't let something circumscribe your mind to think within somebody else's circumference. Okay? The brain is for us to be free to think. If somebody incarcerates it, then it's just like being in prison. All right? But when the brain is free, it should be as free as a bird flying in the sky. Okay? And they say, well, that's a wild bird. That's a wild animal. No, that's a free bird and a free animal. But the one in the cage is the one that's wild because he don't know what to do if he got out that cage. Because he's not been trained how to fly. Okay. All right? Yes. Okay.